Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. So, just recently, as we all found out through the media, the famous football player by the name of Michael Oher is now in a lawsuit with his family, who we thought was his adoptive family, the Touhys, because he is alleging that not only did they trick him into signing a conservatorship instead of adoption papers, but also that there was a lot of money that was made from the movies and the books, I believe, and just a lot of assets and royalties that he did not receive that they did. Now, we all remember whenever The Blindside came out. I remember when it came out. I went to go see it when it did. This movie portrayed these people as this loving white family who went out of their way because of the kindness of their heart. They saw this young, disenfranchised, if you will, black young man, who was just struggling, going through it, didn't really have anybody there for him. And they took him in, like I said, out of the kindness of their hearts, put food on his table, clothes on his back, if you will, and nurtured this ability that he had, to be a football player and made him the star, if you will, that he is today, made him the young man that he is today. Now, usually whenever these kind of family issues come out, unfoil publicly especially, people divide themselves into two groups, who believes what side and who believes the other side. Now, the family, the Touhys family, their lawyer allegedly was trying to claim that Michael Oher did know that he was signing a conservatorship and that all the previous lawyers he'd been to lawyer up against them in the lawsuit, so to speak, would not represent him because they had this alleged proof, to show that he knew that he was signing a conservatorship and not actual adoption papers. And on the other hand, you have the people who do believe him, who do believe that he unfortunately just only found out after decades of being involved with these people, like I said, that he was never their actual adopted son, that he's just been in a conservatorship. Because, it begs the question, how in the world was a child who had no prior financial experience, no prior knowledge of the law, let's just be honest, you don't come out of the womb knowing this stuff, how was he supposed to know what he was signing? And what was stopping them from not allowing him to really read through it to be able to understand this indeed is what you're signing, It's very hard for me to believe that he actually knew what he was signing, and it's hard for me to believe their side of the story, especially concerning and considering how they portrayed him in that movie. If y'all remember, they portrayed him as some mentally slow individual that basically had to have everything spelled out for him, done out for him. And apparently Michael Oher himself said that he didn't appreciate, like, or agree with how they portrayed him in that movie. As a matter of fact, apparently he had been saying that for years now, before this even happened. I do believe that Michael Oher wanted the Touhys to adopt him, not just manage him and his money. And I also believe that they knew that too. So if they did sit him down and have him sign those papers, knowing he didn't know what a conservatorship was, knowing that he was just thinking he was signing adoption papers, my number one question is, why? Why instead did they not adopt him? I'm not completely familiar with the law, but looking at it from the outside, looking in, that is shady to me. So you didn't adopt him, but you wanted control over all of the money and everything that happens and all of the say-so and whatnot. And it's the fact that they would fall back on, oh, well, you knew what you were signing or that you signed anything at all, was shady in and of itself. Because first of all, despite it being a conservatorship or adoption papers, he was going to sign it. Okay, he was young. We've already established that he didn't know, more than likely, what a conservatorship was. He didn't have the legal knowledge to understand what was going on. If they told him to sign those papers, naturally, that's what he was going to do because he probably didn't know any better. He thought, oh, these people are trying to help me, so I should probably do what they tell me to do. He was at a vulnerable point in his life, and he trusted them. And second of all, it really calls their integrity and their character or lack of into question. So we're questioning you on whether or not you took advantage of this young man. Yeah, you helped him, and we're glad that you did that. But at the same time, which was the lingering thought in my mind whenever I first saw this movie, was, are these people going to take advantage of him too? So when you're questioned on did you take advantage of him, your response is essentially, he knew what it was, which again makes them look very shady. So then my second main question would then be, where did all the money go? What happened to the money? What were they doing with the money? How were they managing the money? Were they keeping it all for themselves or were they giving it to him as well? Yes, I understand that they helped him, but it was still his money. Now, going back to the question that I asked before, okay, why a conservatorship versus, adoption? I can understand if even after he had turned 18 that he wanted them in his life to help him with the financial aspect of all of what was going on, to help him with his assets because he didn't have any prior financial knowledge before any of this. And due to that, like I said, he decided to give them some kind of control to a certain degree to help him with that or to do certain jobs for him and in his stead. But still, and again, why wasn't some kind of provision set aside? Why wasn't some kind of bank account made for him, for his money to go into that he could use, that he could see, that he could acknowledge was his, that he earned, and for him to account for personally and also have access to? Like I said, it's all coming off as very shady to me. I have to say allegedly, of course, for the obvious reasons, but it is all very shady to me. Now, it's not going to be shady and it's not going to resonate as that to certain demographics. You don't know who I'm talking about. Let's just be honest, because that movie, The Blindside, portrayed the Touhys in a very, very positive light. It had a very strong, as people have been pointing out, white savior narrative in that movie. So of course there are going to be some people who are going to say, oh, he's just being distrustful of them, y'all are playing the race card. We're going to get a lot of those kind of comments before this is all over with. Now, another crazy thing about this situation is there were some people who were saying that they felt like Sandra Bullock should have her Oscar taken away, because remember, she did win an Oscar for the performance that she had portraying the role of Miss Touhys. I believe she did a phenomenal job and she was deserving of that Oscar, and she's deserving to keep that Oscar. And it was funny because, Twitter is usually the main culprit for these little conversations. And we're going to talk about some of those on the channel in the future. But there was somebody on Twitter, and I'm just going to be honest with y'all right now, it made me laugh. But this person on Twitter really said, I should have knew something was sketchy when they were over here portraying this lady as Sandra Bullock in the actual movie, trying to say, I guess, that was a step up from what she actually looked like, that it was, false advertising, if you will. Now, I'm not up here to debate somebody's physical looks, because I've said before, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But like I said, that was actually very funny to say. I'm just going to be honest. But anyways, I don't agree that she should have her Oscar taken away. It wasn't Sandra Bullock's fault that all this blew up. And if they are guilty of what he's accusing them of, allegedly, that's definitely not Sandra Bullock's fault. She couldn't read their mind. She didn't tell them to do this. All she knew is that there was this nice story, of this family that adopted this young black man, this young black boy, and helped him from point A to point B. She didn't know. I'm pretty sure she was just as blindsided, pun very much intended, as we were about all of this information. So like I said, no, I don't think she should have her Oscar taken away from her. Leave that lady alone. But anyways, y'all let me know what y'all think and how y'all feel down in the comments below respectfully. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all have a blessed and safe day.